last time we arrived at population fluctuations. What's population fluctuations? Population fluctuation is when the number of the individual when the population fluctuate, that can go up and down, go up and down. And there's some reasons for that, like environmental changes. Example, a drought may reduce the population of deer living in a forest. That's an example. So environmental changes reduce the number of population. Maybe it will reduce after that, after the drought, it will go up again. And there's another reason, it's called a cycle. Okay, this whole thing speaks about it, about a lynx, okay, and a snowshoe hare, like these ones. But what happens between them? How this cycle happens? When the number of lynx go high, the number of the snowshoe hare gets low. Okay, when the number of snowshoe hare gets low, the number of the lynx go down. After the number of lynx go down, the number of the snowshoe hare go up. After the number of the snowshoe hare go up, the number of the lynx also go up. When the number of the lynx go up, the number of the snowshoe hare go down. When the number of the snowshoe hare go down, the number of the lynx also go down. When the number of lynx go down, the number of the snowshoe hare get high. When the number of the snowshoe hare get high, the number of the lynx also go high, and thus till the end. This is here speaks about an example that a scientist observed between lynx and the snowshoe hare, but it says it's inaccurate to say that, because sometimes you will see patterns that are not following the same rule as you are saying, like if this one goes up, the other one goes down. If this one goes down, the other one goes up. I don't want you to memorize all of it. Just know the example, how lynx and hare population cycle work, and which one goes up, the other one goes down, and when it goes down, the other one goes up. So environmental change, the population fluctuations may happen because of the environmental change. For example, a drought, and know the cycle of the lynx and the snowshoe hare. Perils of small population. Because of the rapid growing of the human population, other population or the other species of organism, their number is getting low and low day by day. So when the number of organisms get low, what happens? They live in small population. When they live in small population, there's an increasing chance of inbreeding. The number of small population may be decreased for only few individuals. Okay, after the number of that population is reduced, they will maybe be few individuals only, increasing the likelihood of inbreeding. What's inbreeding? It is mating with relatives. Okay. Does this have any effects? Yes, it has 3 effects. It makes the offspring of related parents often have fewer offspring. That's meaning fewer offspring, are more susceptible to diseases, and have short lifespan. There's 2 questions about the inbreeding, the effects of inbreeding in the session review and also in the chapter review. So they ask, what does inbreeding affect a small population? It makes the offspring of related parents have fewer offspring, are more susceptible to diseases, and have shorter lifespan. Okay, so what's the reason that at the first place these populations get low in number? The rapidly growing of human population has caused extreme reduction of the population of some other species and subspecies. So, because we are humans are getting or growing rapidly, we use a lot of resources, and when we are using a lot of resources, we take resources from other organisms, and when we take the resources from other organisms, that's basically just killing them, and when they die, the number of population gets low. When the number of population gets low, the likelihood of inbreeding increases, and the likelihood of inbreeding increases. These 3 effects happen. Okay. Section review. Explain how the population can different densities. Same size, it means the same number of organisms. If you remember the population size, it means the number of organisms inside the population. So we have two populations, okay? Let's say this population is 10 and this one is 10. How the one can be denser than the other? If the space here or the area is smaller than here, then this one will be denser. Explain why distribution usually results social interaction between individuals. Explain how to, and this one will explain how inbreeding can be threatening to survival of small population. This is the answer here. These three reasons are the answer to question 4. List two density independent factor. Density independent factor, anything that is not related to density, like weather, floods, fire. All of these things are not density dependent factor. To the new section, we have human population growth. In this section, we must ask ourselves this question: what caused the rapid growth? How long can it continue? These questions will be answered in this question. So, the history of human population growth. Where does the human population started and how it was at first? It was in the era of hunter-gathering lifestyle. What's hunting-gathering lifestyle? It is in its name, hunting and gathering. So they were hunting other organisms and gathering food. So obtain food by hunting animals and gathering roots, berries, nuts, shellfish, and fruits. This way of life is called hunting, gathering lifestyle. So this is at the first, okay? Like woodchucks, the original species more than 500 years ago until about 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, okay? This was called hunting, gathering lifestyle. You only need to know hunting, gathering lifestyle, how they were collecting food, and what is this era. So they obtained food by hunting animals and gathering roots, berries, shellfish, etc. The development of agriculture. The development of agriculture had a huge effect on humanity. What's the agricultural revolution? It is when humans knew how to domesticate animals and cultivate plants. So they were no in need for hunting a lot anymore, and they were resting more. When humans discovered how to domesticate animals and cultivate certain plants for food, okay? This period is called agricultural revolution. Agricultural revolution. When humans knew how to domesticate animals and cultivate plants, okay? This era is called agricultural revolution. Agriculture greatly stabilized and increased the availability of food supply, okay? What did it do? It increased and stabilized the availability of food supply. Does this have any effect on humans? Yes, it has an effect. What is the effect? It increases the growth of the population. When the food is stable and continuous, the human growth population will the growth rate will get higher. Basha? After that, we have this section speaks a lot in history. So I don't like history. I don't like history in biology. Okay. So the only thing that you need to know is here what happens in 1650 and what happened after World War II. So the reason that the number of the birth rate or the number of growth rate goes high after World War II is because of the improvement in health and hygiene. Improvement in health and hygiene. Before that, the healthcare and the hygiene, there was no hygiene or less hygiene. The improvement of healthcare, there was no healthcare. The people, when they got sick, like they died, there were no medicine. But after World War II, there was improvement in health and hygiene. That's why the growth rate increased exactly like here. Okay, what's happening today? The growth of the population today. Okay, what's happening the thing it's happening between like two types of countries. Okay, the developed countries and developing countries. Basha, what's the difference between developed countries and developing countries? Developed countries make about 20% of the world population. They are better educated, healthier, live longer. The growth rate is very low, less than 0.01 per capita. Per capita means the unit of the population growth. Basha. Developing countries here make up 80% of the world population. Okay, they are poorer than the more developed countries. The population growth rate is 0.015 per capita. Okay, more than Basha. This one is more and this one is less. Know that. So the population growth today, it happens in developed countries. Here speaks about how it happens and how the growth started. A lot of it is history. So the thing that you need to know is developed countries and developing countries. Developed countries make up 20% of the world population. Better educated, healthier, and live longer. The growth rate less than 0.01 per capita. That's the difference between the developing countries that makes up about 80% of the world population, poorer, and the growth rate is 0.015 per capita. When we say poorer, okay, here we mean by all means, like poorer in education, in health, and also we have short lifespan. Here they live longer. Here they have short lifespan, but they didn't write it down. So the poorer gets all the meaning. That will be a section of you before you, so you can solve it and practice on it. The questions are easy. Okay. Now we have finished about population. Basha. Now species interaction between population. Inside the populations or inside the communities, you have species that are interacting with each other. This interaction or based on the organisms that are interacting with each other, we have 5 types of interaction. There are symbiosis, predation, parasitism, competition, mutualism, and commensalism. These ones are very easy and good amount of questions come out from them. So what's predation? The first type of interaction between organisms. Predation, it is in its name. It is prey and predator. Basha, what's predator? Is in predation, one individual is predator. It's the one that captures, kills, and consumes. Prey is the one that has been captured, killed, and consumed. Okay? Basha. Predation influences where and how species live by determining the relationship in the food web, like the predation in the food web or the food pyramid. It determines where that organism lives. Like if it was alive, it lives here. If it was a grasshopper, it lives here, or mice. Okay, and also it is effective regulator of population size. This is very important, even for biology, even for our daily life, because if there was no predation, there would be no regulation for the population size, and the population size will blow up, and the world won't continue. Basha. So know that, okay? If I told you one important factor for regulation of the population size, you will tell me predation. Basha. Predation, prey, and natural selection. What's natural selection? All of you know that natural selection means developing, so the organism is developing its body. How? Look at this snake. This is a rattlesnake, okay? Maybe you have a weak eye, but he has developed a very good sense by his tongue, okay? When he sneaks out his tongue from his mouth, he smells and tastes and know what's the distance between him and the prey. And also he has developed another thing by natural selection, and that's heat sensor under its nostrils. Under its nostrils it has a heat sensor that can sense the heat of the prey. This is not all by natural selection. So adaptation improves efficiency of predator at finding, capturing, and consuming prey. Like this rattlesnake that have developed its body for better finding and capturing the prey. Always speaks about the same thing, how natural selection affects the organism or the predators for hunting. But at the other side, you also have the prey that are affected by natural selection and develop mechanism for defending themselves. So not only the predator get natural selection and developing for hunting, but also the prey get natural selection to develop its body for defense. So how does it protect itself? And also notice a predator's survival depends on its ability to capture food, and the prey survival is ability to be avoid capture. But sometimes organisms flee or use hiding for avoid being captured. Okay, flee or hiding. One of the methods of protecting or the prey protect itself is called mimicry. What's mimicry? Mimicry, it is when a harmless organism resembles a harmful organism. A harmless organism resembles a harmful organism. Example, this frog. This frog is harmless, okay? This frog, it is harmless. What does it resembling? It's mimicking a poisonous frog. But when a snake, that rattlesnake, sees this frog, he won't eat it because he will think that this frog is poisonous. But the thing is that this frog is not poisonous and he is only mimicking he's poisonous, so they avoid being captured. So deception, that is an important anti-predator defense. Okay, how is it used? By mimicry. The harmless species resemble a poisonous or disturbing species. The harmless mimics is protected because it's often mistaken by a dangerous lookalike like the frog that we spoke about. We have plant-herbivorous interaction. It says that the relationship between plants and herbivores. Herbivores are the animals that eat the plants. It is predation. Basha, it is a form of predation. Relation between plants and herbivores is a form of predation. Okay, this is an important thing. Basha, the plants produce a chemical substances that are called what? Secondary compounds. What's these secondary compounds? They can be poisonous, irritating, or bad tasting. So this is also an example for protecting itself. So even the plants protect themselves by either poisoning the predator or irritate him or being bad taste in his mouth. So the predator avoid eating the plant. Also, an important thing about secondary compound, it is used in drugs and medicine. Medicine uses large number of drugs like morphine and codeine are derived from secondary compound of plants. So if I told you how the plant defends itself, beside like the small horns that have in its body, they're chemically by secondary compound. How by secondary compound? By irritating and poisoning and in bad tasting. If I told you how we use it as drugs, or how we use as in medicine, you will tell me it's used as drugs like morphine and codeine. But that was the first interaction, and it was predation. Predation, like in here. Predation. Now into parasitism. What's parasitism? Parasitism, it is when an organism lives on or in another organism and get benefits from it and harm the other. So parasitism is a species interaction that resembles predation, in that one individual is harmed while another individual benefits. It's not predation, but it resembles it. Okay, this is its definition. In parasitism, we have two sides. The one that's parasite, we can like resemble it as the predator, but it's It's not. Okay, so the first side is parasite and the other one is the host. The other one that feeds is the parasite. The other one that has been fed on, it is the host. Basha. We have two types of parasites, ectoparasite and endoparasite. It is in its name, ecto, it means outside. So our external parasites, they live on the host but do not enter the body. Opposite the endoparasite, that are internal parasite and they live inside the host's body. Example of ectoparasite, we have ticks that we took in the earlier sections or earlier chapter. Ectoparasite lives on the host or the body of the host, and endoparasite lives inside the body of the host. It's all about parasite. Competition. What's competition? Competition is when two organisms or two species compete on the same resources. Competition results from the use of the same limited resources by two or more species. So we have the species of a lion and another species of a lion and a species of tiger that are using the same pond of water. Okay, this resembles the competition because all of them will compete on that resources of water and thus make a competition between them and sometimes kill each other for it or even fight it for a territory. When they fight each other or when the one side get that resources like the water and the other side dies because of it or dies because of competition, it is called competitive exclusion. Basha, exclusion, that's been out. So to describe situation in which species are eliminated, okay, from a community because of competition for the same limited resources. So when a species is eliminated because of competition, it's called competitive exclusion. Basha, this is competition, this is the definition of it, and now what is competitive exclusion? It's very easy. There's nothing to get it in your mind or understand it. It's very easy, superficial. This is an example of the tape form. That's endoparasite, about parasite. This is ticks, ectoparasite. Competition and community structure. Look, when the organism compete on the same resources, they know it's bad for them. Okay, like eventually someone should die or someone should be excluded or out of the equation. So sometimes they do something, they part it, they apply their resources. This situation is called resources partitioning. What's resources partitioning? When similar species coexist, each species use only one part of the available resources. Okay, the pattern of resources used is called resource partitioning. It gives an example of a tree and if there's birds on it. There's a type of bird that speaks about the little tiankin here. They partitioned the tree so each one hunts at its own territory. And this one hunt here, and this one hunt here, and this one hunt here. Okay? This is called resources partitioning. And nobody gets into the territory of each other. Sometimes maybe they will get into each other. That's why the resources partitioning is a great reducer of competition. Okay? As a result, the competition among species is reduced. If I told you what's a great reducer of competition, you'll tell me resource partitioning. So it's very important, resource partitioning for reducing or excluding competition. Mutualism and commensalism. Mutualism, it is in its name, mutual, okay? Mutual. So what's mutual? When two organisms live together and both of them get benefit from each other. Like a preferred relationship in which both species derive some benefits. Example it gave us, it is an ant and a bullhorn acacia. This is called a bullhorn acacia, and there's an ant inside this bullhorn acacia, how this is mutualism, how they get benefit from each other. The bullhorn acacia produces a liquid or nutrients inside here that this ant feeds on. Okay, so he gets food from the bullhorn acacia. What does the ant do for the bullhorn acacia? When there's small plants or small predators come here, he protect it and also trim these small plants so all the nutrients come to the bullhorn acacia. Thus, both of them get benefit from each other. So this is mutualism. You can give me any example. You know, if I told you, like, give me an example about these, like predation, mutualism, commensalism, competition, anything that you know. Okay, so this is correct. If you told me any example beside this, even any relationship that two sides get benefit, it's called mutualism. Commensalism is when an organism gets benefit but the other one is not affected. If you remember parasitism, one of them get benefit, the other one is harmed, Basha. But in this situation, this one get benefit but the other one is not affected. So commensalism is interaction in species benefits and the other is not affected. He gave us an example about a Cape buffalo and it's like a unique name about a bird. One example, Cape buffalo in Tanzania in this cattle egrets. Cattle egrets and Cape buffalo. What's the relationship between them? It's commensalism. How? When a cattle egrets like fly on the back of the Cape buffalo, when the Cape buffalo goes or walks, he steps on grasses and these things, and the insects are forced to move. And when an insect moves, the cattle egret hunt down these insects, and that's how he gets his food or it's his benefit. But the Cape buffalo is not affected. Basha, if the Cape buffalo also get benefits, like how, let's say the cattle egret, there's some ticks on the back of the Cape buffalo, ticks, okay? There's in the back of the Cape buffalo, and he eats that ticks. That means the Cape buffalo also got benefit and it turns from commensalism into mutualism because both sides got benefit. But in this situation, it's commensalism because one side got benefit and the other side is not affected. That's enough for today.